Welcome back to another episode of Strong in Every Season. And I am going to start this off with a little question to Miss Jessie Clark. I saw your big announcement on your social medias. You're going to be training for a half Ironman? Tell us more about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad somebody saw it because I'm, yeah, I'm excited to be throwing my hat back into the ring with another triathlon. So the Ironman is a type of triathlon that contains a swim, a bike, a run. It kind of made for the perfect situation in that this particular half Ironman is in my home state of Nebraska. So I'll get to go home to not exactly my hometown, but within a couple hours of where I grew up and do an Ironman, and it just felt like the right time. So I'm excited to start riding my bike again and start swimming again, and yeah, try to balance it all.
And is there a particular reason why you chose this one? Like,
Well,
besides the
part of it
hometown,
was
you know?
definitely the hometown part of it, in that I've got a few family members that are within driving distance. Maybe they can come cheer me on. My brother's there, my stepmom, my uncle. So family connect for sure. And then also I have another friend, Dana, who's going back for that one. So I had a strong encourager and a friend who said, "Hey, I'm doing that one too." So peer pressure.
And how many of these Ironmans, half Ironmans, have you done at this
So
point?
with the full with the full Ironman, the kind of the 12, 14-hour day, that one I've done four times that distance. And then the half distances I maybe have done, I'm ashamed to say I don't know how many, but somewhere in the 15 to 20 range.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah, one
gosh.
one or two a year for the better part of 12 years. So you start racking them up.
It's
But yeah, I'm
crazy.
excited about it.
Yeah, as you should be. That's huge. I feel like anybody who commits to something like that is a little bit crazy and but like in a good way. Like that's a good kind of crazy cuz that's a lot of commitment, right?
So some of it I'm kind of like already doing anyway. If you're staying active, a couple hours a day, you've got that cardiovascular base to kind of pull from. So I won't be able to do all the things every day, but I'll be swimming twice a week. I'll be running a couple of times a week. Um, so it's not too terribly much to start just adding in a few more workouts. Um, but the biggest change is the long run and the long ride. So I'll definitely have to get out on the weekends and start riding my bike again. And for sure, it's a big commitment, but I love riding my bike. I love nature. I love getting outside. So it's kind of like, for me, I just get to do more of the stuff I love. It doesn't feel as much like work when you love it.
So that kind of leads me into my next question. So I know, and so do our listeners and viewers, whoever, however you want to call it, they know that you work out often. You post
Mhm.
daily videos on YouTube, and you're doing those workouts. Like you're sweating along with us. Your muscles get yeah. Well, not that, but you can tell that it's not. You're actually there doing it.
For
And
sure.
I know you also do your own thing on the side. You have run days and things like that.
Mhm.
So how does training for something like this half Ironman? How does that change your like personal workout schedule? What does that look like?
So I definitely have to try to be smarter, instead of just sprinkling your energy out and being kind of loose with that energy, you have to conserve. I can't just go doing things for the social aspect of it. I'll probably cut back on pickleball, or I might do lighter weights, like with you guys, for instance. If I'm training for an Ironman and I know I have to go ride my bike later that day on leg day, I might go body weight only and kind of switch it up for how I train y'all
Mm.
during the Ironman season.
Okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. But so your whole fitness exercise looks different when you're actually training for something like that.
Well, it becomes harder to build muscle. I will say that. Like, you would think that training for an Ironman would like give you an incredible physique. And I think that's a misconception because when you're doing long runs, long rides, you're always kind of eating away at your muscular structure. It changes your body. So you have to work extra hard to stay muscular, have a great physique, because long distance training just changes your body and not in a good way. I'm not saying it looks good on me. I'm saying my butt cheeks get flat because I don't have the calories to sustain perky butt cheeks. If you want to get specific.
I well, but that's interesting because I think the different exercises we do affect our body composition, right? Because there's so much more to health and fitness than like the eating of it, which we've talked about a lot already.
Sure.
So I
Hmm.
I kind of want to focus more on the exercise, and I think that's something we don't often think about is like we can lose weight, but like the muscle
Hmm.
matters. That the body composition really
Yeah.
matters. And so what you're saying is with the long distance training, these kind of things, that's very cardio based, right?
I mean, almost entirely cardiovascular based because you're swimming, you're running, and you're doing your cycling. But what I will say is to avoid those overuse injuries that we get from doing a lot of one thing, it's so important to do the strength-based workouts, to do band workouts, to do stuff to hold on to your joints and your muscles because otherwise you're going to be so prone to injury that you find that people that don't ever want to get into the weight room in the off season have a crappy triathlon season because they're so injured. So I think that'll be the real struggle for me is to be able to prioritize continuing to strength train and go to my trainer, continuing to eat plenty of protein and not just beat my body down so much, but listen to my body more and recover more.
Yeah, because so what I hear from that, and I think it's something that even if you're not training for a long distance run or a long distance goal
Hmm.
like that, strength and cardio both have a place in your
For sure.
exercise routine.
For sure. And I think some of us, when we think exercise, you kind of know inside you're either a cardio girl or you're a weights girl. Okay. Most of us know. And I came into exercise cardio.
Mm.
I came in doing spin class until a wise trainer, shout out to Justin Grosh, we'll tag him in this post, but he was a trainer that later went on to become a nurse practitioner who now owns a hormone replacement service and clinic and does great work. And he was so smart. He was like, Jess, you're never going to be able to build a body unless you start really getting over into the weight room.
Mm.
And I think there's a misconception that cardio, 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 I'm going to have the body of my dreams. It just doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, you could just have a smaller version of you know, a skinnier self, but you won't look and achieve the goals of having visible muscle. So yeah, I always tell people this is going to sound crazy. And I know I just registered for an Ironman. So what I do in my spare time, mind your business. But I would say that I would say this, if you're looking to look differently and you're looking for sustainable, lean physique and fat loss, your best bet is lifting weights. I'm going to say it again. Your best bet is not to do endless cardio. It's to pick up heavy weights and start to build that calorie inferno from the inside out.
That's so interesting because I feel like, especially when we were younger, there was a lot of emphasis placed on cardio, jazzercise and like Richard Simmons sweating to the oldies, things like that. Even I I've seen a lot of like step classes, where
Hmm.
they're very cardio based, and I
Sure.
feel like that was very heavily emphasized when we were younger in the 80s and
Hmm.
90s. Like I think that. I don't think
Oh,
strength
for sure.
training, like I think when a lot of people thought strength workouts, they thought bodybuilding. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, pump you up, that kind of thing. Like,
Sure.
and I think it seems to be coming out more that there's a balance to be had between the two. Do you think that too? Are you seeing that?
I think so. I mean, I just know from experience. So I'm one person. I can speak for me and people that have also been following what I do. It's like every single day I'm lifting something. I'm also getting 10,000 steps. Now, whether you do your steps walking, jogging, or you're on a, stationary bike getting steps in, it's like you got to do the strength training work to preserve not only your independence, but I promise you that as we age, we're naturally just losing the muscle tone. We're losing a lot of good stuff that muscles give us. Human growth hormone, it's giving us great, there's a great feedback loop when you have a muscular structure. One of those benefits, I'm going to be, I'm going to admit that it allows me to eat a little bit more of what I like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only saying that because when you have muscles, they're burning calories when you sleep at night. So
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, don't be afraid of the muscles, ladies. That is part of your freedom. Freedom to live independently and, enjoy a sweet treat once in a while without panic.
Yeah. Well, so I'm glad you kind of brought up walking and kind of aging and exercise, because I have a friend who is, we'll say it, a certain age. She's of a certain
Okay.
age. It's not me. Okay, it's actually not me. She's
Is it me? You
No,
talking
it's
about
not.
me?
It's not you. But she told me that walking was all the exercise she needed, and like kind of a very light workout. She said that
Hmm.
she was told that's all her body needed at her age. And
Yeah,
I don't know, I don't remember where she got that from. She said it was a trainer, but I don't
sure,
know who it was.
sure.
And maybe for her that's true, because every body is different, right? Like every But do you think, is walking enough? Because I think we hear that a lot, like, oh, just go walk 20 minutes a day, or
Yeah.
20. And I know
So,
walking is good. I love to
sure,
walk. But like, is it
sure.
enough?
So I would say this, anyone who's actually walking every single day is doing more than, 80% of the population. So if anybody's walking every single day and they're committed to that, like I'm cheering that person on. I would also say it kind of depends on the lifestyle you lead. Like I want to lead the kind of lifestyle that I'm climbing mountains, doing Ironmans. I want to do the most. I want to carry all the heavy packages. I want to be very independent in my old age and retirement. So I'm kind of training for the life I want to lead. I would say if somebody's looking to lead a sedentary life, then maybe walking is enough if that's your standard. But I think that as we're declining naturally with muscles and, our ability to sleep and some of those great hormones that exercise provides, I would say don't be afraid of the weights, ladies. Again, it's just that sure, that might be enough, and I'm honestly clapping for anyone that is walking or just walking. But ways to get in strength building exercises, it may be with weights, it may be, I'm looking at stuff around me, it may be with bands, it may be with two, cans of beans. You're doing the bean press, and then you're doing the bean curl. If you're leading an active life, you're going to find places to get in strength training.
And yeah, I think that's really a good point to make, that I mean, we're always going to be lifting something, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're
let's hope so.
even if true, yeah, even if you're just carrying a grandbaby around when you're that age, that's lifting
Yeah.
something, isn't it? And we want to be strong enough to play with the grandbabies, right? Like, I'm
Right.
not there, thank God. We're not there. But I'm just saying, like, in
Someday.
someday, yes.
Someday. Yeah. This is sweet. This is sweet of Ella to say this. I'll brag on her. She said, she said, Mommy, someday when I have kids, will you come stay with me and will you help me? And I
Oh.
said, Yes, Ella, I will. So like for me, the actual goal is being healthy enough to whatever big city she's living in, being fabulous with her little kids. I'm going to go and push them around New York, Chicago, wherever we're living.
Yeah.
She's going to have a place for me to help raise those little kids because my in-laws, my mom, my mother-in-law helped me, and it's so great to have help.
Yeah.
But, that's another story for another day. But I'm training for the lifestyle of being super active up until my, gosh, 90s. I had a
Mhm.
grandmother that was very, very active. So
Mhm.
that's the goal.
Now, I want to ask about intentionally exercising, like doing a workout, versus just having an active job, like people who are in retail
Mhm.
or food service, some job or
Mhm.
construction work where you're always on your feet, which
Yeah,
that's active, that's an activity,
sure.
versus being intentionally working out, like setting aside time, 30 minutes to lift weights, to run or bike, or pickleball. Something like where you're
Yeah.
playing basketball, pickleball, whatever your swimming, whatever your sport is of choice. Is there a difference between these things? Should we be
So
intentionally working out if we are already active? Do you see what I'm saying? Is
again,
there
it's such an advantage. I will say this, anybody that has an active job, whether you're an environmental engineer or you work for UPS or you're involved in something that's on your feet. My mom was a dental hygienist, okay? My mom was on her feet every single day, and she never ever had any issues with her weight or calorie balance because she was constantly moving. So that's a huge, huge benefit. Kudos to those people.
mm-hmm,
But I will say this, you're going to be more prone to injury because you're not stabilizing and working your core. If you're not doing any kind of core work, if you're not doing any kind of leg work, you're going to probably be prone to some eventual injuries. Your hips aren't flexible. If you're never squatting, you're going to someday fall and break a hip.
mm-hmm,
So we want to do some things not just for weight loss, okay? There's reasons to exercise far beyond getting your steps in, like injury prevention, hip mobility, mental health. When you just go and spend 30 minutes on yourself and just tell yourself you're putting into you because you love yourself. Good job, self. Way to love yourself. I mean, it's literally intentionally trying to convince yourself that you're putting in the work, doing something for your insides, you know, that's going to carry you through and be an investment in your future self.
yeah. So here's the magic question. Is there a perfect right exercise that we should all be doing?
Good question. I mean, I think at my age and my experience, my lived experience, it's probably going to be something that protects your lower back because that seems to be the most chronic issue that takes people out. So for me, my favorite exercise everyone should be doing is the bird dog.
That's not
You get
even
in
that
hands and
hard.
knees. It's not that hard, but I promise you, if you're doing it right, slowly, you're breathing, you're maybe doing a little yoga flow in the middle, and that's what we do every Thursday here at Jessie Clark Fitness. We do our active recovery days because as I'm older and as I need more recovery, we need a day of that. So that's why it's on Thursdays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are typically pretty intense workouts. Then we come up for air on Thursday, and then Friday we bring it home with our core and cardio sessions.
Yeah. So you really have a very balanced approach to planning workouts. You have, the Monday is full body, Tuesday is upper, Wednesday lower. You have an active recovery. You have a full ab day, which I hate. But
I love and I have benefited from it. If you've
well,
been watching the ab journey lately, you can actually see my abs come into fruition as I've lost some weight. So that's kind of fun.
though that is fun, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think that's really interesting that you have a very balanced approach and you do have strength and you do incorporate cardio. So
Hmm.
how does that work? Like, because some of your workouts are really long. And I'm saying this as someone who, I mean, I work from home, so it's not like I have a super, set schedule, but I work from home. some of your workouts are really long. Do I have to work out that long each time?
I mean, here's what I'll say about that. Everyone should start where they're at. And
Mm-hmm.
if 30 minutes is all you can do, do 30. There's also a tab where you can actually go and scroll to our new folders that say 30-minute workouts. Also on Thursdays, you can expect some sort of active recovery day. So I would say if you are a beginner, make sure you're not missing a Thursday. That's going to be your easiest day of the week. Do not miss a Thursday. And really don't miss any of the days, but make sure that on a flexible day, you're coming back and grabbing a either full body day or a lower body day. And here's why. Lower body investment in your muscularity is the gift that keeps on giving. And it's not just that legs and glutes look great, it's that they're our biggest consumer of calories in the body. So there was actually a ratio that they look at, the trunk volume to torso volume. And it's like you're burning a lot of calories here, but also a lot down here,
Hmm.
just in your legs. So don't skip a leg day so that you can invest in not just legs that will carry you through life, but into a calorie support system for us.
Hmm. Well, but what if leg day is really hard on my knees?
Yeah.
I'm
So
sure
if
you
you,
hear that a ton. It's not hard on my
oh,
knees specifically, but I
yeah,
know of, like, I know
sure.
people that it is.
And that's another great keyword search is that when you put in like Jessie Clark Fitness, you can actually put easy knees, and that puts it into a category where we do things that are for people with bad knees. So there's great things that you can Google and find the workout for you. But yeah, I give so many modifications, Trisha. I promise you, if someone just comes to a random Wednesday class, they're going to hear me say, and if you can't do lunges, do this instead.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll always try to put a couple things for low impact or no impact folks. But what what I'm learning is that it's one of the hardest workouts I do in the week, and that's because I'm jumping and bouncing and dancing for 45 minutes with them. And if you're looking for a fun workout, you should really come check out the Smyrna YMCA. Shout out Smyrna. But water aerobics is kicking my butt lately, and they are so energizing and grateful because water is sometimes the only thing those folks can do, whether
Mm-hmm.
they've had surgery, um, some people that are working on losing weight, they just want to be in the water. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm making it as fun as possible. We're playing all hype music on Monday at the Y.
Yeah. So with that, that seems like it's kind of a little bit of both of strength and cardio. I mean, I know you're probably not putting 20-pound weights in there, but is there like a strength component to it? Do you think?
So you end up having little weights, but the weights are made of styrofoam, so they create resistance in the water.
Oh.
So we might do something where on dry land, you're going to do a shoulder front row like this with your weights. So in
Mm-hmm.
underwater, you're pushing it down, working the same muscle group. And it takes a little bit of like understanding what the water is doing. But in the way that it's made me think again about movement, it's really expanded like brain expanded on how to challenge these people. And mostly they really like fast music. So one of their favorite songs, Trisha, is I like to move it, move it.
Oh my
I like
god.
to move it, move it, move it, move
That's
it. Like the kind of
hilarious.
stuff that's hype energy. And
Yeah.
you make me wanna shout, put your
Oh,
hands up and shout. And like
classics.
classic stuff that lends itself to movement and footloose,
Mm.
pick up your Sunday shoes.
Mhm.
And so like
Mhm.
we do fun stuff in water.
Yeah. Well, and then it seems there's also a trend of active older people playing pickleball. And you yourself have said you play pickleball. Is that another activity that you think like that counts as exercise too, right? In its own way?
It so does. And that's where you look at some workouts are very intentional. Like when you go and pay for a session or you show up to a Monday morning class with me, You have a goal, there's a program, that's a structured workout. But when you do something like pickleball, it's like passive exercise without even knowing it. When you clean the house, passive exercise. So think of all those things as great ways to get in steps and to
Mm-hmm.
keep that energy balance. So calories in, calories out.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to injury prevention, longevity, staying in your own home if you're retired, all those things require, okay, this is a non-negotiable. If you want to stay in your home, you need to do strength training. And I just mean when we're old and gray, it's inevitable. We're going to age, but we have to start thinking in our, I'm almost 50, about how we want to age in the next 20 years of our life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think to kind of tie all of this together from your half marathon or half
Hmm.
Ironman, excuse me, because that is not the same thing. So I do not want to diminish what you're training for. Your half Ironman, and then talking about strength and cardio and pickleball,
Mhm.
water aerobics, being intentionally active.
Yeah,
Like, how does this all tie together? Because we like to talk about being strong in every season of life.
yeah.
So how does all of this apply? How can we apply this
Hmm.
exercise, these strength and cardio, finding that balance, actively moving? How would you, as the
Hmm.
fitness expert here, apply that to this overall concept of strong in every season?
Well, I think that, what I can do now, I couldn't do, some things 5 or 10 years ago. Like my body's always changing. And I think I'm in a season right now of learning to rest and recover and listen to my body. There have been times kind of when I was young and dumb where I would jump back in, maybe risk injury, fall off, jump back on. So I'm entering a season of life. This is me speaking for me and hopefully a lot of our listeners where they're finally starting to get the process down. I've got this going. Now I can add something. And I think that's how we learn and we grow is that you know how you operate the best. You start putting yourself first. And sometimes that means getting up early for exercise, finding a time that works for you in your life. I'm in a different season than you are versus the new mom that works out with us that's barely getting any sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So her exercise in that season is going to be maybe just pushing the stroller to the park and that's all you can do in that season. So, without saying it in too many ways, based on how much of a commitment you can put forth into this area of your life, health, fitness, meal prep, recipes, like that's what I'm into, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we have to be in that mode to execute what we already knew. And sometimes we forget what we already knew, but start remembering all the things that work best for us so we can get traction and develop those habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and like you're saying, like, have grace for where you are and do what you
Mm.
can where you're at. And I kind of want to, that's it. I want to stop there, but I also want to just pose one final question, and I think it's an easy one. So it's
Okay.
kind of a softball. So here's my final question. I've heard this said that the best exercise is the one that you'll actually do. Is that
Yeah.
true?
I mean, it is in my case because you have to want to do it. At the end of the day, no one's going to show up for you and do this thing called exercise for you. You have to do it for yourself. And so anything that's working for you, like the lady we talked about earlier that is walking 20 minutes a day, absolutely keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
For the people that are looking for something from home, you can do it anytime. It's easily accessible. It's a great value. I think that's where the workouts I provide are a great asset for people. There's so much flexibility and they can do it from home. Now, that's not going to work for everybody, and I recognize that. There are some people that need that human interaction. They like to go to the gym, and I do that every single day at 8 o'clock. I do kind of my online group, my YMCA group, and then something I want to do on my own. And sorry,
Because you're crazy.
because I've also been I'm used to it in a way that like my hobbies are my job, is my life, is my fun, is my friends. And so I'm at this trifecta where I'm like, if we're hanging out, we're either having coffee or we're going for a walk or a run or a bike ride. And
Hmm.
if and that's okay to admit that that's my lifestyle. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's where you are, but you weren't always there. Like that
No,
wasn't your whole life. That has become where you are in this season.
for sure.
But maybe as you get older and maybe your body cannot handle training
Yeah,
for Ironmans, but you can still go for a walk, right? You can still
for sure.
maybe even go on a bike ride. Maybe not a super long, super hilly bike ride, but you can still do that, right?
Yeah.
And
I do
that's
plan to. I
mhm,
do plan to continue just listening to my body. And as I get into this phase of life, and as everybody that's listening is in a different phase of life, find something you can do and build off of that
mhm,
because your time will free up and you'll get to spend more time on what you're interested in. So do the minimum right now, even if it's going outside and getting a walk in or doing a short workout. Do what you can. Do the exercise that's um, you've got time for and that you're enjoying.
yeah.
So keep it up.
I think that's really helpful for all of us to hear that just do what we can do. And every
Hmm.
season, there's something for every season and every person, and we shouldn't feel obligated to do all the things. We find what works and we do it. Just like with eating, there is a balance to exercise, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's really cool. I can't wait to watch your journey as you train for this half Ironman. I think it's going to be really fun, and I think we'll be able to come up with some really good topics around it, like what it's like to train
sure.
for something like this. I think that's going to be really fun for our audience to hear because maybe they've wondered what it's like, and
Okay.
I would love for you to willing to do so to take us along that journey with you. Would you be willing to do that?
Of course. Of course. As long as it wasn't boring anyone. But
Yeah.
I'm going to take you along with me. One of my favorite things to do that we'll do one day is I used to love going for a bike ride in the middle of the night.
Oh gosh, that's
I
crazy.
know. It's awesome. You're out there by yourself on the Natchez Trace. You've got headlamps, you've got lights on your bike. But to get out there in like a really hot day and start your day at 4 a.m. before the sun comes up, like magic. I've seen shooting stars. I've seen a lot of cool stuff. And I'm looking forward to that. That's the part of the training I'm looking forward to is, you know, 3 a.m. alarms and 4 a.m. bike rides.
That sounds wonderful for you. And I wish you well on your journey. I will think of you fondly when I'm sleeping in my bed.
Okay. Okay,
That's
I'll
where
text you after I'm done.
yeah, text me when you're done cuz I'm not going to be there. So,
Right?
thank you all so much for joining us today with this discussion about exercise. I hope you've heard something helpful and useful. And if you have, or if you have any more questions about the topics we've discussed, whether it's different types of exercise, maybe how to modify exercises for your specific
Mhm.
needs, we would love it if you would leave us a comment or reach out through a message. Jessie is a fitness trainer. This is her livelihood, and she's really good at finding ways to make it work for the person. And
Aw.
I've seen it. I've seen you do this. So I hope that if anyone interested wants to learn more about ways they can, find exercise that fits their life, please
Yeah.
get in touch. And this Jessie is really good at helping with that. So thank you for listening, watching. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe and share and all the fun things that everybody says at the end of every podcast. And we really appreciate you listening, and we want to hear from you. So please give us that feedback. We would really appreciate it. And that'll be it for today. So thank you guys.
Thank you.